Hello guys, what is up? It's me again, and I haven't made many videos for the past couple of weeks. And this will be my first video in my Let's Make series. So welcome. What you see here is not the usual Pygame IDLE setup. I will be making my current game, which I'm working on, in C++, using the Allegro library for graphics, sound, and yeah, basically everything. So so far I've made this basic shell code where just including the Allegro library, having a couple of variables down, and this is basically the normal setup for an Allegro application. Since it is a C library, therefore there's no such thing as like classes in it, so you can't really have like built-in. Okay, to explain it in a more understandable way, let's say the display. It won't have any members because it's written in C. So what happens is I created a pointer to the display here, and well, I created a pointer with the identifier of display, and I've set it to null. And pointers are like, they can be null. They're basically they're sort of complicated. Well, not really. They just point to a value in the memory. I'm still not very clear on what it's all about, but I think I understand. Like, it's like, for let's say you have a variable that you don't really want to assign yet. You can hold it as a null value, and like you can dynamically assign it and like clear it and whatever. So yeah, something about dynamic memory management. But yeah. Okay, so let me just continue with my game loop. So I'm gonna just, in Allegro, it's sort of kind of weird if like programming in it, because you kind of have to get used to the way you have to work in it. There's a lot of like C-like code, so you're gonna be using functions with really long names a lot, and you're gonna have to hunt for initializations and everything if you have a bug or something. But overall, it's actually very easy to use, and the reason why I'm using this over SDL, which some of you might use, is because this has a lot of stuff built in that SDL doesn't, which I really like scaling bitmaps, which is sort of kind of a must sometimes in game development. And also it has the ability to load PNGs with, oh, by the way, I'm using Allegro 5, not Allegro 4, Allegro 5. So it has the ability to load in PNGs and a bunch of other file types with ease, with transparency and everything. Also, it has the ability to interface with OpenGL and DirectX pretty easily. Well, you know, like most other frameworks do. Of course, I'm not making a 3D game right now. My proficiency in C++ isn't quite at that level yet. But, and also I haven't ever used OpenGL or DirectX before, so that would probably be a far cry for me. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, let's. I'm gonna continue with my game loop. So the game I'm making is gonna be called Zombie Knockout. I haven't really made any art for it yet, but I'm working on it, and it's just an idea I came up with to, yeah, for fun. So yeah. So let's create an Allegro event point, and yeah, so we just created an event right there. So I'm learning as I go through this, so if there's a lot of errors and you're like, what the hell is this guy doing? I thought this was a tutorial. It's not a tutorial. It's a let's make. So yeah. Alright. Now I'm going to use the function ALWait for event, and basically what this function does is it waits for an event to occur, and it asks for you to, and basically what it does, it's the event queue up here. I created a variable called an Allegro event, which is an Allegro event queue, and oh, I forgot to assign it. Yeah, that's kind of important. Actually, So let me just, the reason why they're null right now is because I could have quite as easily put them below here, but just for organization purposes, I had them be null to begin with. So after initializing Allegro, I can finally start assigning them. So the timer is going to be al create timer. I kind of like the fact that the function names are quite large, because you can pretty much guess how you're gonna, or what function does what. So like you don't really have to look up that documentation, because it's pretty explicit. Like al register event source, it basically, you can understand that that registers an event source, or registers, or whatever, how you want to pronounce it. So yeah, basically right here, what I'm doing is assigning a frame rate, and that's going to be, let me just create a normal variable up here called an integer or float, just in case it might implicitly convert that value to a float later on. I mean integer, and we don't want that because the value we're okay. I'm just going on and on about that. Okay, FPS. Alright, then we have our timer created here, and we have to create our event queue. Now, like I said, Allegro is a C library, so you're going to be using functions and not member functions to load and initialize things and stuff. So yeah, al create event queue. And like I said, it's pretty intuitive, pretty straightforward. What function does what, you can pretty much figure it out yourself. Don't really need a tutorial for this, but it would be, the wiki and stuff is not that, like, I won't say like it's bad, but I will say that like it's sort of not really good for starting up with Allegro for beginners, especially people who are using C++ for the first, like, who are still starting to learn C++. I suggest you go search up Mike Geigs tutorials. They might be in the description, so you can go check those out. They're really good. That's actually how I learned this library. And also, I suggest you have some basic understanding of how to program in C++. It's sort of a different, well, it's a tougher language, but I won't really say tough, because a lot of people can, even if they're beginners, they can catch on to it. It's more practice, really. But yeah, so I suggest you grab a book or something on C++ if you have no idea what it is. Or I might even start a tutorial series on C++. Yeah, so let's just continue with the code. I've been mumbling on for a while now. Alright, wait, we might have to cut it here. So I've been talking way too much. I'll actually code something and maybe have something to show in the next video, like maybe a window. So yeah, that's pretty much it.